Welcome back to Champion News Talk Radio, brought to you by championnews.net. This is Carol Parisi. Our founder, Jack Roser, and myself have Mr. Michael Carbone with us. And before the break, we were talking about property taxes and how you help to facilitate lowering property taxes for folks. And you weren't even doing this as a business, but you were helping, and that's great. You were doing a service. But Michael, where is the accountability for property taxes? Jack, you were talking about an analogy of how property taxes are implemented.
Yeah. A lot of people get mad at the assessor because he's the closest guy to hit, and he sets their bill. But I point out to people that the assessor is really the guy in charge of the manure spreader, and his job is to spread the manure evenly over his area. But he has nothing to do with how much manure taxes goes on the manure spreader. That's put on there by the people that spend the money. So don't get mad at the assessor, get mad at the expenders. And this goes all the way up to Congress. Same thing. The people that spend it are the people that if they spend it, you're going to have to pay for it.
Well,
and taxes.
Well, and these are people that are elected into office. These are our lawmakers that are projecting what their quote-unquote budgets are going to be.
What can you tell people as an advisor?
Well, and what I've been doing with this, and like you said, or I said earlier, it transitioned into a business, and what I've been doing the last 3 years now, we've been holding town halls with assessors, working with the folks, educating them how to participate in their local government, how to read a tax bill, and it's really wonderful because you get two sides. You get the side from my point of view, and then you get the side from the assessor, so it complements each other very well. And then you have the assessors, you know, they're starting to participate in the local government, at the school board meetings, and letting the folks know, these are the folks that are raising the taxes, it's not me, because you're right. Everyone thinks it's the assessor's fault, and it's not their fault. They're just there to implement, make sure that property taxes are getting adjusted properly so they can go to the county.
So everybody pays their fair share. But the total is beyond his control.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I find to be very compelling is that this is really a groundswell, a grassroots of folks actually doing their representative republic duty as citizens to get engaged and get involved. And it sounds like you've been doing this for a long time. What made you decide to run for county board? And what separates you from your opponent right now? What are your solutions that are better than his?
The reason why I decided it was a little over a year ago to run for county board is I started walking to some businesses and I found out that there was no voice in my community for people to represent them at the small business level.
Which is the backbone of America.
It is, and when you tie it into small business, people don't understand that, for instance, our district, we are per capita the smallest amount of local business in the entire county per capita. And it shows a direct correlation why we're the second highest tax township in Lake County. Businesses can't perform well to make a good profit in the district. And so people need to understand the more businesses that you can have in your community, the more they're going to give back. They always have. It's a fact.
Jobs, tax base.
But not only that, just in volunteer. They'll give back to the schools. They'll give back to the libraries and the park district. It's a known fact. And so you realize the highest taxes, when you look at Zion, Waukegan, North Chicago, and my district, Avon, we're the 4 highest tax townships in Lake County, but you have the biggest issues with education, crime, teen pregnancy, small amount of businesses. Waukegan's the only one that really bears the fruit of businesses because that's the heart of Lake County as far as, the government and whatnot. What separates me from my opponent is no one knows who he is. He's not around. No one knows his names. All the mayors in my district, there's 2 of them, all the trustees, from every taxing body to the library, the park district, to the township, they all know who I am. I've been involved for well over a year, if not longer. My record stands that I've been a voice of the community. No one owns me but the taxpayers. That's the resume. They tell me what to do. I go out and listen to them, get consensus, and bring it back to the board. That's what I've been doing on the school.
So your opponent has not served in any capacity at all. He really doesn't know the
If the folks don't know who you are, how can you be a service to the community? You know, there's a resume here. You're applying for a job, and the job says you have to do X, Y, and Z. I know what the X, Y, and Z is. I've been doing it for over a year. I'm on the Liquor Commission now. I'm on Friends of the Library Board. I'm on the Chamber of Commerce Board. There's a reason why people are asking me to join these boards, because I'm out there and I get things done.
That shows leadership.
You're likable too, Mike, incidentally. It's amazing that you're competent as well.
Yeah.
But, likability goes into things. This business with the taxation, it's a truism that about 60% or more of your local tax bill is the school district. The K-12 school system is the biggest thing, and 80% of what they spend in the school system is salaries. So it's very salary high, and that's where most of the money goes that you're paying real estate taxes goes into the schools. Yet our schools don't stand up very well on international standards. So we're paying a lot for a very poor product. This has got to be disturbing to taxpayers and probably to you too, since you're bridging across some very important local government units.
Yeah, you know, that's you're absolutely right. That's what I recognize being on a school board. Yeah, 68 to 72% of our property tax goes to the schools. 80 to 85% of it is salary and benefits. When you run a business, that's tough. Our product is our students in the school board. You bring them in just like sports. You bring them in, you hopefully they play better. You bring the student in, hopefully at the end of the year they're smarter. And they are smarter. They come out smarter. Maybe not to the standards nationally or global. That's where there's a lot of debate, from my understanding, what I've learned.
Can I ask you, do you think America has lowered the standards for learning?
I think so.
Isn't that sad? Because we pay more, we pay more per student than any other nation. Michael, I know you've been trying to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I really like this election cycle because the opportunity that we have to have a great county board in Lake County is there. We've got Mike, who's been in the school board, and I really believe that's an asset to understand how that functions.
Absolutely.
Nick Sauer, he's running for county board too. He was in Barrington, and then we have Tom Weber and a few others. But the question I have for you is, does the county have the ability to control and limit the school boards as far as what they can do with their taxing ability? Can we set property tax limits to a percentage of the value of the home?
No, it comes from your state legislation. Remember, as a county board commissioner, the county only receives 7% of the property tax.
Right.
I still campaign on it, and I'm going to be an advocate to do more town halls, but hopefully the county can create that. They are doing town halls, but I think it could be done a lot better. And because we are seeing such a huge variance in EAV, equalized assessed value, on properties, our assessors can't handle this bulk. Last year we had over 25,000 properties that were assessed that filed a complaint with the county or their assessor, and the county did a fantastic job being able to handle that bulk. But to your point, the county can't change legislation. It has to be done at the state level, but they can lead by example as far as when it comes to property taxes. We can start saying we're going to take a freeze, and hopefully our local taxing bodies will see the same. But we are seeing the same in our villages and our townships. You're either seeing the taxing bodies freeze and lower their tax levies. You still have the schools, though, keep on raising it.
The schools set a terrible example. There's 860 different school districts in Illinois. They're all doing about the same thing. The superintendents, as I understand it, they don't hire the teachers. That's negotiated by the union and the school board, which is heavily influenced by the teachers' union. But my point is that the superintendents are all making like $200,000 a year, and pensions like that as well, continuing on out for infinity. Take any of these school districts, the superintendent's making $200,000, he'll retire and make that in retirement, and 5 years later there'll be another one. For one school board president, one superintendent, there's a parade of them approaching death on pension of 5 or 6 of them. There's one on the job, and there's 6 more that are making the same price for him. This is crazy.
It's unsustainable to the taxpayer.
Why does a superintendent make $200,000 a year? He's not a businessman.
Well,
He doesn't have a sales department.
Right. And I ask the same questions. You know, the people to do all the work are the teachers.
Yeah.
You know, our super...
You know what? I want to hear about the teachers, but I also want to hear about your three big topics: to cut spending, transparency, and accountability to the taxpayers. So when we come back with Michael Carbone after the break, we're going to hear those things.